in running my business and in all of it. Okay, I'll get here's what I'm putting out is that I really feel I feel like I've tapped into the law of attraction and the law of allowing. I really I feel I found great love, and I share a wonderful relationship with the most wonderful woman in the world, and I have I love life. It's fun, you know. It's just everything. I'm happy and excited and passionate. All in healthy, like all the things that I can allow. I understand the law of allowing and having that be all part of me. And so my thing is I don't understand my resistance and allowing in financial abundance and all of this. I'm kind of running. I don't get it. It's something. It's a resistance that comes up, and every time I start doing really well, I have to deal with this again. And I feel like everything else that I have allowed that is attracted to me are things I can really manage. I can manage my happiness and my love and my health, but that thing that's so tangible, that's like so close, and yet.
But what we're saying to you is, if you will just manage your love, if you will just manage that emotion that you can manage, and stop messing around with the stuff that you think you can't manage. When you stop messing around with it, that the vibration of it not working will dissolve within you, and then the grid will fill in with the abundance that you're seeking. It's that feeling that I can't get it, and so I have to keep after it, that keeps that vibration active within you, which is preventing what you want from coming. But there's a contradiction, because if you can manage, so you said to us, I can manage the love.
I can allow it, and I can allow the happiness and the joy and the
fun. As it relates to what?
To me and my life and how I live it.
Generally spoken and good, but what, except for this one area?
Yes, it is just that one area.
And so what we're saying is, if you could stop talking and thinking about that one area, you wouldn't keep it active.
I feel like I have sometimes stopped talking about it, but I do. What I don't know how to completely let go of it. That is why I'm here. I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Why? Because money matters, because money is evident in every day, because it's on my mind, because bills come, because I live in a physical world where I have to eat physical food and pay physical rent and so on. So you have to find a way to make those conversations more general and less specific, because they are specific and not working. So you've got to make them specific and working, but you can't go from specific and not working to specific and working. So you have to go from specific to general. So tell us how you generally feel about finances.
Stressed.
All right. So, and you know that stressed is evidence of resistance. And so you've pinpointed that there's an emotional grid that is filling in with things that equal stress. And you want to change the emotional grid from a stressful one to a better feeling one. So try to go from the general feeling of stress to the general feeling of relief. Try to do that in some way, with some conversation, with some approach. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing all right. I stress more than I need to. I make bigger deals out of things than I need to.
And I feel,
you following the theme here?
Yes, and I sincerely do feel all is well, and always will be. Like I do feel it's.
Well, now you're getting a little more specific than you're ready for. So just stay in that general thing. Things have always worked out. I always find a way. I get ideas that come. I'm making too much of this. things in my life are generally working out. Other areas of my life are working out really well. I'm getting it in regard to that, or in regard to that, or in regard to that. I eventually will get it in regards to this. I don't have to figure it out right now. I don't have to fix anything right now this red hot minute. I'm just wanting to produce a feeling of relief. A feeling of relief is what I'm reaching for right now, because a feeling of relief is a feeling of less stress. And so I can do this just with my words to myself, just by choosing a quiet tone, or maybe by going and laying in the water of the ocean, or maybe by laying in on the beach, or maybe by looking at the landscape, or maybe by listening. There are lots of things I do that just relax me. I'm now understanding that my dominant intention is to find some relief. It's not my dominant intention right now to find work. It's not my dominant intention to find some way of bringing more money. It's not my dominant intention to do all those things. That's too specific. My dominant intention right now is to find some way of feeling some relief. And so I'm talking myself into it. I'm using a sort of cadence. I'm reminding myself that all is well. I'm going to breathe some more. I'm going to get into a better feeling place. I don't have to fix it this red hot minute. There isn't anything that's really broken anyway. Everything's working out all right for me. I'm beginning to feel some relief. It's beginning to feel a little bit funny to me. I don't know why I was making such a big hairy deal out of it anyway. There isn't anything that has ever come out of stress anyway. Every time I've ever been stressed, it got a lot worse before it got better. And the only reason that it ever started to get better was because I took a nap, or I chilled out in some way, or I changed the subject, or I changed businesses. I moved to a whole other arena where I approached it in a whole other way. I changed the subject. I got less specific. And every time I got less specific, things got better. And so that's what my goal is here, to get less specific and to get feeling better. Now you're feeling better already, aren't you? Aren't you feeling better forward? You're feeling better. It doesn't feel like it felt when you first sat down. And so now you're feeling a little better. You've got that general feeling of well-being. If you wanted to, you could get more specific. If you wanted to, we wouldn't for a while. We'd just enjoy the feeling of well-being. We would say things like, well, now I'm expecting that the grid will fill in with some more obvious things. And I don't want to try to dictate how it happens, but I am going to enjoy watching it beginning to happen. There's nothing more exciting. Oh, here's something really good. So, you know how when you make up your mind about something, maybe you think you got a psychic hit on something, or maybe you just came to a conclusion. Politicians do it all the time. So do scientists. Anyone who spends a lot of time thinking about things, is a very common thing that they come to a conclusion about something. They come to conclusions about things wanted, and they come to conclusions about things not wanted. And then they revel in the evidence that supports the conclusion that they've come to. We think that is just the funniest thing that you do. You come to a conclusion of something that you don't want, and then you celebrate every time you see evidence that supports this thing you don't want. And you go, aha, I knew it. And we say, aha, you're creating it. You're creating it. So what you want to do is create this feeling of well-being, and then watch for the evidence that supports it. And when you see it, aha, I knew it. I felt that coming. I knew that was coming, you see. Yeah. There are so many people out here on the manifested edge, sifting through the details of what's manifested and getting into that state of confusion that we were talking about earlier, where it's so much simpler to work at the basis of the general basis of the emotion that you want to feel. And friends, it's got to be easier than you're making it, because every single thing that you want, no matter what it is, material object, a pile of money, a relationship, a circumstance or an event, a movement in the political arena, everything that you want, no matter what, without exception, always has been, always will be, for one reason. You think you will feel better when it happens. You think you will feel better. And if we can just convince you here today that you have the power within you to conjure the feeling better now before it happens, to not need it to happen before you conjure the feeling of it, that you can get general enough to find the essence of the feeling of what you want, you will have created a vibrational grid that will fill in with the details to support what you have accomplished every time. And that's what deliberate creation is at its best. Now, there's nothing wrong with creating stuff you don't want, because how do you know what you do want if you don't create some of what you don't want? How do you know that you want more money flowing until you've really experienced some shortage? How do you really know that? How do you know who you like to hang around with until you've hung around with some that you've really not enjoyed all that much? How do you know? How do you know what you like to eat until you've eaten around enough to know what tastes good to you? You get to define all of that. We're not trying to get you to go in one direction or another on anything. We just want you to know that you have enough contrast around you, enough variety, enough buffets on enough different subjects, that you have already very well established. You've determined clearly who you are and what you want, and that resides in a vibrational vortex that is calling you. But you can't get to the specifics of that magnificent vortex if you are vibrationally out of whack. So, now stay with us, because this is new. Those specifics of that vortex have been coming into being over a long period of time, meaning the length of your physical experience and even before. In other words, you've been putting those details there. And each time you move to a new idea of what you prefer, your vortex becomes it, and your inner being becomes it and is it, and holds the vibrational tone, the vibrational latitude, the vibrational place marker, holds the vibrational space for it, you see. So here's this very specific thing that has happened. We don't think we know for sure that if you were able to look into your vortex, it would take you more than this lifetime just to articulate the details of what's in there. It's that much specific detail of really amazing, wonderful stuff, each and every bit of it pleasing to you when you get there. So just take our word for it. It's really good, and it's really specific. So when you're out here specifically focused upon the absence of this specific stuff you've put there, you couldn't be further from allowing yourself the law of attraction's help in bringing you what you want. But if you will not be specific, but instead say, this specific is making me crazy. This focusing on what I want when I don't know how to do it or how to accomplish it is making me crazy. I'm just going to go general. And you deliberately bring yourself to this general place where you talk about things like general well-being, like the earth turning in its orbit, like the sun coming up every day and it's not even on your things to do today list, like you breathing all night long without a machine that's making you breathe, and like your blood's pumping, and like your metabolism is working, and like things are working in your environment, and the garbage truck does come every Monday just like it is supposed to. As you focus upon these general things of well-being, the general things of well-being, until you reestablish within yourself this feeling of well-being, you can move from that general feeling of well-being right into the specifics of your vortex. You can move right in there. But you can't get there from the specifics of what's not working. And that's why every conversation that we've had here today, we're just trying to get you to stop trying to manipulate the manifestation in order to be happy. We've said to you for years, if you will leave the money out of the equation, more than you will have time to spend will flow into your experience. And people think that twists their brain into a knot. What do you mean? Leave money out of the equation. How could I leave money out of the equation? We say by making other things more important. By making it more important how you feel when you sit on the beach and it didn't cost you any money. And don't tell us the gas cost money. We know. You can argue your way out of alignment anytime you want, but by looking for the evidence of things that are working. That's what you got to do. Look for the evidence of things that are working.